Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second Easia Active live webinar. Today, I'm really excited because we're going to talk about and share with you a lot of information about Myanmar, a magical and fantastic destination that I was really lucky to visit and explore last year in July and August with Celia and our team during one of our inspections. And it's a country for me that is incredible. It's beautiful, and you will see like in this webinar. Thanks also to Celia that she will share with us a lot of information. In fact, this webinar is all about Myanmar, and we're going to share with all of you the best area to experience active travel, but also we'll take you through the details of various outdoor experiences that we designed with our local team, and that you can also offer on your programs. Before going into the details, I would like to inform you that this webinar is recorded, and we will send you the recording video on the follow-up email. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate to write your question on the chat box, and Celia and I will answer to all your questions at the end of the presentation. So now let's start. So the webinar of today is hosted by myself. I'm Matteo, the Easia Active Brand Manager. I'm leading the Easia Active team in the 5 destinations. Together with the team, we design, we create adventure experiences and operate adventure experiences in all our five countries. I've been living in Southeast Asia since almost 4 years now. I'm usually based in Cambodia, where I stay, but I often travel towards all the other destinations with meet Celia and all the other product manager in Southeast Asia. But today, our special guest is Celia, our product manager based in Myanmar. Hello, Celia.
Hi, Matteo. Hi, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So let's have a look quickly at the agenda of today. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction of Easia Active for the one that they don't know us yet. And finally, later I will pass the floor to Celia, that she's gonna give us a lot of information of why to travel in Myanmar, what are the best areas and region to explore Myanmar with adventure travel. And also we're going to share with you some details of our Easia signature experience that we personally designed with our local team in Myanmar. And we are going to give you some idea of sample programs that you could design and create in Myanmar in order to experience these regions for adventure travel. And finally, we're going to have the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. But now let's have a look. I'm going to give you some information about Easia Active. Easia Active is the dynamic B2B adventure DNC part of the Easia Travel Group. We are an independent team specialized on adventure and sustainable travel. We have, I'm leading the team we have a sales team speaking different languages, but also we have an operation team and guides that are really specialized on adventure travel, like hiking, biking, and also kayaking in our destination. We are based on in these 5 countries. So we are located in Myanmar, in Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and in Cambodia. So we operate in these 5 destinations in Southeast Asia. And we have, as you can see from the map, 14 operational offices where our team is located. We are in the travel business since the 2000. So this year is our 20 years anniversary. I'm really proud to say that. We are a really good team so far. We have a lot of experiences on our 5 destinations. Saying something more about Easia Active, I would like to precise that we are an independent team focused on adventure travel. So we have our sales team based in Yangon, Bangkok, and Hanoi that speaks different languages. We have mainly people speaking in English, but we have also some sales teams speaking German, French, and some in Italian. All our experiences and tour that we offer are designed by and inspected by our team on spot. So meaning that all the hiking tour and cycling tour that we offer are yearly constantly inspected by our team, such as Celia, myself, in some destinations such as Cambodia and Vietnam. And we always review and control all the trail that we offer on our programs. Moreover, we have a quality team that is helping us on controlling the quality of our equipment, but also to control the quality of all our suppliers, such as transportation suppliers, hotel, and restaurants. Moreover, together with the quality team, we always work together on specific training for adventure travel, sustainability, and emergency procedure. Every year we do different type of training for our team and guides. Also, another important point to highlight, we have our team is always available thanks to our 14 operational offices. We have team all over our countries, and we're able to support you and your travelers anytime while they are in the destination. After that, I would like to highlight our commitment towards sustainability. For Easia, sustainability, it's part of our company culture, but also part of our strategy. I'm really proud to share with you that we are partnered with some international association, such as the ATTA, the Adventure Travel Trade Association. It's an organization that where there are tour operator and travel agency all over the world that are specialized in adventure travel. We're a member of the ATTA since 10 years now. And I'm also proud to say that we are partnered with Travel Life. I am also a sustainability coordinator in Cambodia, and I'm working with the Travel Life team to improve our offices and also internally and externally to reduce our impact on the environment. I'm currently working in Cambodia to reach our certified level. And moreover, we are child safe certified, meaning that all our tour experiences and that we offer on our program follow specific criteria that allow us to protect the community and the children where we live and we operate in our destination. So this is really important for us. For example, in our tours, we never include visit to schools while there is school hour, for example. This is really important for us. And finally, I'm proud also to say that from this year, we are able to, we extend the refill project, meaning that we're able to offer tours in our destination, reducing the impact of plastic bottles. So thanks to the logistic that we design, we offer to all our travelers a reusable bottle. We can also give it to them, but they can also bring it from their home. And we design a logistic in all our Easia Active tour, where the travelers can refill their bottle all over the itinerary, in their van, in the hotel, and also in some restaurants, in order to reduce our impact while traveling. Before leaving the floor to Celia, I would like to introduce the Easia Active team in Myanmar. Our team is much bigger, but this is some of our, didn't have too much space, so I just include some of them. Here you can see our guides, some of them in the bottom. And then we have EE, she's the operation leader for our adventure program. Then we have Lin Lin, our travel designer specialized in adventure program in Myanmar. Nadi, our sustainability manager. She's leading the sustainability group all over Easia, and we are working together on travel life and child safe certification. And finally, we have Celia, our expert, that today she's going to share us a lot of information about Myanmar and the best region to explore with adventure travel. So I'm just gonna give you the presentation so you can walk us through.
Thank you, Matteo. Thank you for the introduction. As Matteo mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, my name is Celia, so nice to talk to all of you today. I've been with Easia for 5 years and I'm based in Yangon, so the former capital city of Myanmar. And today, so I am the product manager for Myanmar country. And today we will talk about all the different experiences and itineraries we can offer to you in Myanmar and hopefully give you inspiration for your future traveler. So let's start with some basic logistics and knowledge about Myanmar. So Myanmar is in Southeast Asia, like mentioned by Matteo. We're between India and Thailand. How can your travelers access Myanmar? Well, we have 2 international airports, one in Mandalay, one in Yangon. We often mention Naypyidaw, which is the now capital city of Myanmar since 2006. Naypyidaw also has an international airport, but mostly regional with China. So most of your travelers will arrive either in the north through Mandalay or in the south via Yangon. We say that both are international airports. Most of your travelers will probably access Myanmar via Yangon, which has much more connection. Then Mandalay is more of a regional airport with China, Thailand, Singapore, etc. But wider range still than Naypyidaw. So this is for the airline access, Mandalay or Yangon South. We also have 4 international border checkpoints. One with India, here in the north in the country, the Tamu-More border, for those who know a bit the region. And 3 international checkpoints with Thailand. One in the tip south of Myanmar here, which gives you access to the Mergui archipelago. One in the middle, if I might say, here, the Mesot Miyawadi, that gives you access to the south of Myanmar, plus the closest access to Yangon. And finally, in the Golden Triangle between Laos, Thailand, here in Tachi Lake. So we have 1, 2, 3 border access. A side note, Myanmar shares its border with actually 5 countries, so Bangladesh, China, and Laos, additionally to India and Thailand, but there is no border access for Bangladesh, China, or Laos that is allowed for foreigners. So travelers cannot cross borders for those 3 countries. They then need to access via air. So this was for geographically the country. Here is a summary of most of the flight connection to Yangon. So like I was saying, Yangon will be mostly the main port of access. Here you will have listed the regional flights coming from the US or Europe or the other parts of the world. Most travelers will have to do 1 stopover. And most often those will be the connections. So most of our travelers will come via Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, Bangkok, and some via Vietnam. So those are the main connections that we can find. So a few words about the seasonality. Roughly speaking, for any type of travel, Myanmar has the best season is between October and March. That's where you will find the best weather with little to no rain, almost no rain at all. Beautiful sun every day and temperature between 25 and 30 degrees. So the best time to enjoy any type of activity in Myanmar. Nevertheless, our active programs or even leisure programs can be operated all year with some obviously different seasons that also leave a track on the landscape. So between April, May and June, this is what we call the dry season, where the temperatures can be as high as 40, 45 degrees and the landscapes get very dry because it hasn't rained since October. So this might not be the best for biking or hiking, like I will tell you again later. And then starting from June end of May, beginning of June, all the way to September, we have what we call the monsoon, the rainy season. So the trails get much more muddy, but the landscapes is extremely green, like very bright green and lush. So there's pros and cons to each season. That's actually what we're having right now. It's the thunder and the purple orange sky, because we are now starting the rainy season. So the best season will be October to March. On the chart, you will see that there's a few spots where we wrote that it was a cool season. Might be surprising because Myanmar might sound like exotic, always hot country, but there are some regions in the country higher in the mountains where it's actually cold in the early morning and during the night, and where it's advised for travelers to pack a few more layers and thicker clothes. I will highlight them again when we see the different programs later. So this was a short word on the seasonality. Before we go into presenting the 3 itineraries that we have built for you, a few words about Myanmar. So why would you travel to Myanmar? What active travelers would want to come to Myanmar? Well, on top of a beautiful, varied landscape that goes from very high mountains and deep valleys to lush rolling hills where you have lots of crops and exotic jungle, or a dry zone like Bagan, or even beautiful beaches. Well, on top of this all variety of landscapes that you can explore in only one trip already, that you can already have a taste, Myanmar also has lots of ethnics, lots and lots of human touch. And any trip in Myanmar, it's both a cultural immersion, but also lots of interaction, authentic interaction, and very genuine, because Myanmar, after all, is one of the least visited countries in Southeast Asia, and you can really feel it when you come. Even the most touristy and popular sightseeing places like Bagan or the Ubeng Bridge in Mandalay still feel quite of unique and less visited, because Myanmar is not yet one of those best, like most popular destination, which is, I guess, also a good thing. So we can keep this authenticity. There's a real generosity in all the people you will meet, and that's also why active traveling in such a country is beautiful, because you would stop on the way and have a cup of tea with just the farmers. You will see them. You can join them on the field. You will sleep at local houses, sleep in monasteries. So there's a whole interaction really with the population. And Myanmar, I forgot to mention, might strike often as a cultural destination, first and foremost, because of obviously the spirituality of Buddhism. So yes, it is a very spiritual country, and you will see it through all the pagodas, the temples, the monasteries that the travelers will run into during their trip. But yeah, on top of being cultural, it's also a really human and beautiful landscapes. And we have, despite what some might know about Myanmar, absolutely beautiful anti-paradise beaches all along the coast, which are starting to opening up step by step. And it's really a good additional point, especially to finish off an active travel with a nice relaxing days by completely empty white beaches that are absolutely beautiful. So all in all, I think you would agree with me, Matteo, that Myanmar is quite suitable for slow travel, because it's where you want to take time. Also, the logistic is a bit slow in general in the country. You will see that taking the train, the bus, the bike, it all takes quite a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly. For like Myanmar, usually it's promoted, and a lot of tour operator offer Myanmar in with classic program, visiting always the same destination like Mandalay, Bagan, Ile, and Yangon. With the Asia Active, what we want to we're doing and we want to promote is really areas that are difficult to reach by normal vehicle in some cases, but also that are less visited. You will see in the program that Celia, she will show us very soon. At Asia Active, we try to focus on areas that are less common, in order not only to allow your travelers to explore incredible destination, but also to give a positive and direct impact to the community. Because when we visit those destinations, we try always to use local guest house or CBT, community-based projects, in order to spread the benefit of the tourism industry, although in some places that are really remote and difficult to reach. Also, with Easia Active, we always organize small groups. We try to keep 12 to maximum 15 people in order to keep the spirits, but also to respect the local community when we visit them. And another point at Easia Active, every time we design a program, we always try to reduce our impact, not only with the refill project for reducing the plastic bottles, but also reducing our carbon footprint. You will see in the program, one of the first programs of Celia, we try to combine train, boats, bicycle, in order to use less flight in Myanmar, because Myanmar, as you will see, is a really huge country, and sometimes you need to use a flight connection to move from one place to another one. But with the slow travel and with the Easia Active, we always try to also design tours that are also less impact in the environment. Moreover, as you can see now, adventure travel is becoming more and more common and popular. Like, I mean, adventure travel, it has always been a growing trend worldwide, and it has always been increasing in the last years. But now even more, due to the situation that we're all facing, people are looking more for holiday where there are less people, in places that are less crowded, or they are looking on holiday there where there is nature and contact with the nature. And so for all of you, the adventure travel and active travel is also an important business opportunity, and Myanmar is the perfect destination to do that and to work with us. So you can show us the best area that for adventure travel.
Yes. So before we go into the detail of the actual content of each program, I want to present to you the areas in the country in which we focus for active travel, the one we think are the best, show the best opportunities for hiking or biking. So let's start with the eastern part of the country, the Shan State, which is here circled on the map. The Shan State covers the Golden Triangle parts here, and of course Inle Lake, which is the most popular highlight of Shan State. So what does it offer? This region is mostly rolling hills, very lush crops, plantation, bamboo forest, the lake, obviously, and many villages. So it's quite a populated area. So in any hiking or any biking tour, you will just cross many villages and get a chance to interact and meet the local inhabitants and share a cup of tea with them, or just try and have a discussion and have some interaction. So this is, again, not only active, but there's so many opportunities to really have interaction with the population. So the Golden Triangle is the highlight is Chaitung. It's included in one of the programs, so I will highlight it a bit later. And Inle, obviously, with Pindaya and Kalo, which are the most popular destination. This is a region we mostly work on with hiking. Then we have the center of the country, which we could often call the dry zone or the central plain. This is where Bagan and Mandalay are. Obviously, highlight is the UNESCO site of Bagan and the beautiful mystical temples. There's also Mandalay, which is a very rich former royal capital city, because the capital city in Myanmar changed every now and then. So you have a lot of beautiful architecture and monuments and a real spirituality, a lot of spirituality around Mandalay and Bagan. The landscape is much more dry, as it says in the dry zone, much more flat. So it's quite ideal for biking. We actually have a program that allows the travelers to bike from one hotel to the other. And it's long, nice stretches, which make it enjoyable to just cross the whole region by bike quite easily. And we finally have the western part of Myanmar, which covers Shin State, mostly famous for the face tattooed women, ethnics that still live in many villages, mostly in the south, not so much in the north, but in the south here of Shin State. This part is more suitable for harder trekking due to the landscape. It's a very rugged, dry, rocky landscape with high mountains and deep valleys. Pretty rough, not as lush as eastern part of Myanmar. Less villages, sorry. Eastern part of Myanmar, you will see a lot of villages on the hills. The western part is much, obviously, less people because it's much more difficult to live. So it's a bit more challenging to reach those mountains, villages, and see the ethnics. It's very cold weather. Remember, I was mentioning that in some region of the country it's cold. In those mountains, you can have, in some region, punctual snow, and it's advised if travelers go there to pack a few extra layers because in the morning and night it can be very cold, and unfortunately accommodation there is not yet to the standards of the rest of the country. So this is a summary of what we will focus on in those different programs. We will focus on this part of the country which has the most active experiences. It doesn't mean the rest of the country is of course not open to travelers. There's many beaches here along the way. Yangon is obviously here and many more sightseeing area. We'll not focus on them today, but there's much more to see in the country. So what are the programs that we've been talking about? We will introduce to you 3 programs, 2 hiking and 1 biking, to try to show you as much as possible all the areas that can be reached thanks to active traveling. So let's start first with a hiking program of approximately 2 weeks, a 13-14 days program that is called the Shan State Trekking Exploration, because this program will bring your travelers from Tipo here in Shan State all the way down to Bagan in the dry zone and back to Shan State around Inner Lake. This program has this particular touch that it's much more of a slow tourism theme, where the travelers will drive first to Pilwin, one of the British hill stations with beautiful wooden houses and architecture. Then take a train, a day train, all the way to Tipo, and then stay in Tipo for 1, 2, 3 nights, quite flexible, and do an overnight trekking in the jungle of Tipo. Here, the travelers will sleep in local houses in the woods and in the jungle and have this immersion, extra immersion. Then they will drive back to Mandalay, which is approximately 5 hours. Spend a night in Mandalay, and the next day take a day boat to Bagan. So it takes maybe longer, but it allows you to explore and stay longer in each destination and just take your time. After taking a day boat on the Irrawaddy, the travelers will stay in Bagan for, again, a few nights, as much as they want to enjoy the temples and explore the temples either by electric scooter, tuk-tuk, horse cart, bike, or just walking around. So it's quite diverse. There's many modes of transportation to explore Bagan. And then a flight will bring them to Shan State again, where they will start in Kalor. They will descend to Inner Lake with a overnight trekking again, either a 2 nights or 3 nights, or no, sorry, a 2 days, a 3 days, a 4 days, even a 5 days trekking if they want to really take time to go deeper in the countryside. Finally arrive on Inner Lake, enjoy the lake and the sightseeing and relax before taking a flight to Yangon and explore the city with one of our walking tours in the city center. Here, it's based on slow tourism. We can even add a car, so they can go from Bagan to Kalor by car. We added a flight to shorten the trip, but the different transfer are quite flexible and different options we have. So it represents approximately 5-6 days of trekking if we select the 13-14 days program. It's quite a moderate level. It's suitable for a different type of physical level. There's a few steep ascent and steep descent, but nothing too challenging. So it could actually be suitable for a larger audience. It's approximately 15 kilometers of walk per day, so quite reasonable. And even if Clients will sleep in local houses in Tipo here. They will have this particularity, which we will mention again futurely in the presentation, of sleeping in a monastery in the area of Inelek. So this is very particular to all the trekking around Inelek, is that travelers spend the night in a monastery, but we will come back to this later. So the seasonality, again, the best is October to March due to the nice landscape and the good weather. It's not advised later due to a dry season than the monsoon, but it is suitable the whole year long. So we decided to, we decided to show you a few pictures so you can imagine better. Here is the first part of the itinerary, where the travelers will go from Mandalay to the jungle of Tipo and the hills of Tipo. On the way, they will then take the train. So this is a picture of the inside of a train. It's quite comfortable. I've taken it several times. It's also very entertaining because you have a lot of sellers coming in and out of the train at each station. Even if the trip is a bit long, it is not boring because you see the landscapes and then you just have this life in the train. And they will go over, one of the highlights is they go over Gochek Bridge, built by the British, which is one of the highest viaduct in the world. Then from Shansteit and the lush hills of Shansteit, they will take the boat, like as I mentioned, on the Irrawaddy, which is the big river that crosses Myanmar from north to south, and they will then move to the dry zone and explore the temples of Bagan, before then continuing to Inle Lake by flight, starting in Kalor and making their way all the way down to Inle Lake. On the way, they will enjoy lunch at local houses, stay in villages, monasteries, and finish on the lake. This was for our first program, which is perfect for actually quite a large audience of active traveler if they like hiking. It's also better for travelers who are a bit flexible with the accommodation because they will need to sleep in local houses and monasteries where the comfort is less high quality standards, but the experience is taking over. It's a moderate level, so I think most active travelers can access this program. Now let's move on to our biking itinerary that we wanted to show you today. This itinerary is extremely interesting because it allows you to go from Mandalay and across the dry season all the way down and up in the lake to in Shansteit. I like particularly this program because in most parts of the itinerary, the travelers will go from hotel to hotel by bicycle. It's long, nice, almost flat stretches around Bagan. It allows you to make a lot of kilometers. It's often around 80 kilometers in this area. So it's between 40 and 80 every day, depending on where you are. But it's really enjoyable to have first long, nice, flat stretches around Bagan, then move on to Shansteit, where the landscape is a bit more hilly and have some challenging parts. So then shorter itinerary per day, but a much more challenging experience. So we have approximately 9 days of biking in this program because we also have additionally day tours to visit the highlights around Inle, Mandalay, and Bagan. So travelers can start in Mandalay in the international flight connection. It's also not a problem if they start in Yangon and do the itinerary reversed or simply take a domestic flight from Yangon to Mandalay. We'll start in Mandalay, visiting a few highlights by bike again, exclusively. So the city center first, and then move on to Ava and Amarapura, which are two old, ancient royal capital cities. It's a bit outside of town, so it's beautiful ruins and older monuments, also in the lush rice fields. So it's contrast between the city and the countryside that is very interesting. Then we'll move on to the dry zone where they will sleep in lesser visited towns to then make the way all the way to Bagan, sleeping also in Mont Popa, which is, for maybe those who know, the House of Spirits in Myanmar. It's an extinct volcano, and it's quite beautiful to see from the hotel. There's a view on the monastery, which is called the House of the Spirits. And then they continue to Bagan and explore Bagan by bike before taking the road to Kalo and start descending all the way to Loiko, which we will present a bit further in the presentation, which is not often visited, but it's really worth it. Famous for an ethnic, which is the Padang lady with the long neck, and then make their way back to Inde Lake. This is a beautiful, beautiful part. Very, very flat along the lake, very rarely visited, beautiful landscapes. And then enjoy Inde Lake, relax a little bit to finish in Yangon and visit in the old capital city, the former capital city. This level is a bit higher. It's a level 3 due to the long distances and some challenging parts around Inde Lake. So it's a beautiful tour.
Yeah.
Matteo, you had a chance to test it. We tested it together.
In fact, I wanted to give also my kind of opinion. For me, this was I was lucky to experience it also with you and the team. I did only the second part, so the part around Ille and Loiko, and was really beautiful. There are different type of trails. If you like biking, there are different type of trails. It's like tarmac road, like concrete here, as you can see, but also there's like off-road trails that are really fun and nice. Towards you crossing some jungles and some forest, and also we cross a lot of villages, particularly around the Ille Lake. Where we see how the local people live and work. We can stop to meet them, to interact with them, and it's fantastic. Also, these programs, as you can see, you can divide in 2 modules. If people, for example, they don't want to do 9 days biking, but they want to do maybe 3 or 4, we can also divide. They can do or only the part in the north around Bagan, or only the part in the south. In my case, for example, when I was there in July, August, we did the south part and some day tour in Bagan, and I really loved the day tour that we did it. Adventure in the Lake is a product designed by Celia. It's fantastic. It's like 1 day where you visit the Ille Lake in some places that are impossible to reach by car. And we do a mix of biking, local boat, kayak, and it's incredible. Like I had a really fun experience, and it was really beautiful. So also as a 1 day experience, it's nice to do it.
Yes, thank you for sharing, Matteo. So it's true. We not only have those overnight long cycling, we also have quite a lot of day tours around each highlight to include touches of active travel in any type of program. And before we move on to the next hiking program, sorry, we wanted to say a few words about the logistics. So we use in all of our biking tours, the Trek brand, so internationally renowned and quality brand. We have a technical team. They know how to maintain them, and in each of the biking trip, we always have a cycling guide that will be available, and accompany the clients every day. There's a driver, and the driver is also trained to be a mechanic in case there is any parts to fix. The support vehicle will always be there for the travelers to carry the luggage, to carry the snacks, to carry the first aid kits, etc. And depending on the size of the group, there will be 1 or 2 support vehicles to obviously share the luggage and the bikes in both vehicles. We, like Matteo mentioned, like to limit our biking tour to 12 guests, 12 travelers, and our hiking in general, 15, 20 maximum, to keep, as Matteo said, the spirit. In the snacks part, as you can see on the picture here, similarly to the refill landfill program, we try to avoid any type of plastic or trash along all of our tours, and this is a perfect example. So this was a little setup on the way, I believe, to Pindaya. This is just a snack setup. So there will always be every 15 to 20 kilometers, depending on the day, there will always be a snack break that will be set up by our team before the travelers arrive. And there will be a choice of fruits, sweet and savory snacks, drinks, soft drinks to replenish, and no plastic is used, and plenty of water, obviously. So we encourage our travelers to bring bottles, or to we can also provide refill bottles to avoid plastic to a minimum. So this was the logistics of our biking. So this is perfect for travelers who enjoy the cycling, like Matteo already covered. And finally, our third programs we wanted to present today highlights what I think are some of the most beautiful parts of Myanmar. This is actually one of my favorite. It was so fun to design. This program is a hiking programs to remote ethnics, and it really shows you so many sides and faces of Myanmar. It's really a wow program. So this is a 2 weeks, 14 days again of program where focusing on the hiking, but not only. It's a lot of culture. It could actually be also available to leisure travel with some modification. Travelers will start in Yangon and will fly first to Bagan, here in the Central Plain. They'll do a 4 to 5 days extension to Shin State, which is the home of the tattooed face women. In Shin State, we will have 2 dedicated days of hiking. One where the travelers will climb on top of the Mount Victoria, which is the 3rd highest mountain in Myanmar. Quite a challenging hike, but with a landscape that is really breathtaking. Then we'll have another day of hike in the remote villages in the mountains around Kempelet, which is one of the 2 towns that are visited in Shin State, in the southern part of Shin State. Around Kempelet, there are many ethnic villages, and the travelers will leave for a day, go deeper in the mountain and higher in the mountains. So the path is quite steep and quite difficult. And additionally, punctually on the other days, there will be visits of villages a bit less or more remote, depending on the location. So there will be extra walking around. And then they will make their way back to Bagan, stay for some relaxing and exploring the temples, between moving on to Kulor and do once again one of those beautiful overnight trekking from Kulor to Inner Lake, or from Pindaya to Inner Lake, with an overnight in a monastery, which stays really one of the highlights of any trekking in this area, in this part of the country. Spending time to enjoy the lake, the floating gardens, the houses and the villages on stilts, to then take a flight to Chaitung. I'm sorry, is there a question that I missed, or? Sorry. Thank you for me. Then from Inle, after the trekking and enjoying the lake, we can take a flight to Chaitung, which is the Golden Triangle, which you can really see that this culture, this part of the country is very different because it has influences from China and Thailand. Even the temples, the architecture is really, really different. And in Chaitung, again, there's some flexibility, having trekking 1, 2, 3, even 4 days to visit different ethnics, each in different parts of the mountains. Quite steep way to climb all the way up, same way down often, but it's totally worth it because you can then spend time in the village and really interact and visit all the houses, discover also another culture, because in Shin State and in the Golden Triangle, this is animist culture and not Buddhist, so you really have a lot of different aspects of the country. This is a Easia level 3. Due to the ethnics living in remote area and mountains is often quite difficult and challenging, even if the distance every day is shorter than what we saw in the Shan trekking, the first program. The way is more steeper, so it makes it difficult sometimes for some profile of travelers. So if we have approximately 7 days of hike, which is quite well balanced for such a program. In the Shin State, it's quite cold, so that's why we highlight to take layers. and also sometimes in the winter in a lake. But the best season stays October to February. So here is a few pictures for you to understand better how the landscape really changes when you go from west to east of the country. This is Shin State. In Shin State, sorry, you can see the high mountains and the deep valleys, quite a rugged, dry, rocky landscape, like I mentioned you. Less villages because it's a more tough part of the country. But when you reach a village, there's really this reward of meeting all of those people and being able to interact. In Shin State, for the little anecdote, in southern Shin State, there's 5 different patterns of tattoo. So travelers can actually see the 5 of them going from one village to another. So there's always a surprise when you arrive. Then after Shin State, moving on to resting a bit in Bagan, then continuing to Inner Lake, like we already saw. The bamboo forest, the beautiful lake, the Bao ethnics, which is this ethnics with the colorful scarf on the head, and an overnight in a monastery, which is always a highlight. And finally, the last highlight of this program is Chaitung in Golden Triangle, where you go from the dry mountains of Shin State to very lush rice fields and colorful hills and jungle and green and remote villages with Aka, which you can also see in Laos and Thailand. Lahushi here, which are recognizable by their blue and white costume, and some An with the black teeth, some Thai, etc. So there's many ethnics to visit. This, I believe, is honestly some of our best program, because it really shows you unbelievable places in the country that are not often easy to reach, but if you take time, if you have a good physical shape, then you really have a reward. It's balanced between the physical challenge, the cultural discovery, the immersion, and I would say it's more for travelers that are a little bit more flexible, because the accommodation is not the best in the remote parts of the countries, but again, the experience is so rewarding that it's, I believe, actually worth it. Talking about accommodation, we summarize here a little bit of what you can expect in those remote parts of the country. So here, for example, are here below and here on top 2 examples of hotels that you can find in Shin State. So it is not terrible. It's more basic than what you can find in the rest of the country, but it stays clean and standard. This hotel here on top is what you can find in Chaitung. So the Golden Triangle I just mentioned. This hotel is actually a very beautiful, comfortable hotel in Loikop. Sometimes you have a very nice surprise. And this is an example here of the setup in local house. So it's quite simple, but it's still very clean, and we take care of washing all the time, the covers, the blankets. We have mosquito nets depending on the season if needed, etc. So overnight at the monastery, maybe I can let you, Matteo, shortly describe what you experienced.
For me, like when I was there with you and the team, I was lucky to experience only one part of this amazing program that you just described. I had the opportunity to do the trekking in Kalo, so around Ille Lake. Unfortunately, due to the time, I did only the 2-day, 1 night. That is also possible. In that region, as Celia mentioned, we are kind of flexible. We can organize around Ille 4-day, 3 nights, or 3-day, 2 nights, or even 2-day, 1 night trekking tour around that region. That is really beautiful. Apart from the trekking trail, that is was amazing, like crossing the different plantations. We stopped to the villages. We met a lot of local people and interact with them. One of the highlights of this module and this experience around Ille Lake is what you can see from this slide is the overnight at the monastery. Myanmar is, if I'm not mistaken, is the only country in Southeast Asia where you can sleep in a monastery, in such as a type of accommodation and with this type of services, to be honest. The experience is wonderful from different point of view. It's like you can interact with the monks while you are inside of the monastery. It's really spiritual. like you're inside of the monastery, surrounded by nature, so it's really silent. The atmosphere that you live while overnighting in this place is incredible. And as I say, the service is outstanding. We have the team that organize all for the group. So when the group arrive, they have all the beds, as you can see here, set up. Of course, it's as a basic accommodation, but it's pretty comfortable for one or two nights, where you have a mattress, you have the mosquito net, as you can see, the blankets, and the team, the local team is cooking for you. There is a lot of food, delicious food, and you will eat inside of the monastery. And in terms of toilets, is a bit basic, because you have to use the shower. There is no shower, it's just you have to wash yourself with the bucket, as the monk are doing, but it's also part of the experience. But we have also the toilet here, private toilet in this part of the monastery. As I say, this is for me was amazing. I lived in Cambodia for 4 years, and I didn't live the same experience. So for me, it's one of the highlights. If you're coming to Myanmar for adventure travel, is something that you must do it.
Thank you for your testimony. I agree with you. I had the chance to be often on inspection to check out trekking, and it's always a pleasure. Even after 4 nights, I'm actually enjoying this so much. But we also have, after those rougher experience, a lot of choice in terms of very comfortable accommodation in the main site, like highlight of the countries, being Bagan, Mandalay, Inle, Yangon, as you can see on the picture here. Lots and lots of very comfortable hotels with pools, so it's like travelers can relax after a few days of hiking or cycling before going back on the road. So here you have on the left Inle, and here on the right a few examples of what we have in Yangon. So it's just to show you the contrast of what is to expect in terms of accommodation. And finally, we also wanted to highlight a few experiences that are not only for active travelers, because after all, even if Myanmar is absolutely perfect for all the explorers and the active travelers, there's also a lot of choices for leisure and other types of traveling. We highlight very quickly that in all of the experience and activities we offer, we try as much as possible to collaborate with those community projects that have been built and put into place by community, and where the fund and the money directly goes back to the villages and the local community. We have many different experiences, whether it goes from wildlife to cultural to fishermen and urban activities and picking up trash. But the highlight I'd like to make is the Tongbi Library. It's a project we're very proud about. We built the library in 2016, and I've been since helping as much as we could, providing books, repairing, maintaining. It's something that travelers can actually go and visit, bring books if they want, and if children are there during after school, it's always after school time, then why not interact and share, just have a talk with the kids. It's not during school time. I highlight this because we are very strict with this. This is all leisure after their school time. Preferred, probably my top favorite place to sleep in the country, it is this house. It's the Inle Boutique House, as we call it. You can see on the picture, this house is very special because it's probably the only place I know of where the travelers can have this little boutique chalet completely for themselves. So this house can be reached after a 1-day hike. The distance can be flexible. The full length is approximately 20-24 kilometers. This can be shortened if we only start at the lunch break. Lunch is being taken in a village. You cross a lot of village. You will start from the lake, from the shores of Inle Lake, then climb all the way to the top of the mountain and find yourself, you arrive at sunset in this house. You have a bottle of wine waiting for you. And this is absolutely the perfect place just to finish a day and have a break, like a nature break. You disconnect completely. It's a detox when you arrive at the house, this is what you can expect. So you would enter, and there's this little kitchen corner where everything has been put on ready for the next day. The dinner of the first day, it's cooked by the villagers of the village next door. They collaborate with us, and they actually bring a homemade dinner to the travelers. Then they retrieve, and the travelers have the house just for themselves. So the bedroom looks a bit like that, where you have all windows here. So you have a view of all the nature around you. The lake is down the valley, is here at the bottom of the valley. In the lake, Nyangshui, and a sky, a starry sky, because there's no noise, no light pollution, nothing. So I believe it's one of the best place if you just want to detox and disconnect completely, but still have a certain type of privacy. So it's obviously the capacity is reduced because we have only one room. So it's perfect for honeymoon or just couples. It's also suitable for families because we can add 1 or 2 mattresses in the kitchen corner. It's a bit bigger than that. And then we can host a family in this place. And finally, there are 2 regions that we worked quite a lot on, and we wanted to highlight to finish this presentation. The first one is the way, because we often talk. So Myanmar has quite a wide choice for beach extension or a beach module after any type of program. The most usual choice would be Napoli, which is on this coast with a lot of beautiful hotels. That way is a bit off the beaten track. It's good for travelers who wants to explore extra, but still enjoy beach days. So Napoli doesn't have hotels or resorts by the beach. Hotels are all downtown, quality standard, beautiful hotels. But every day is an adventure. So this program that we built, it's the extension that you can see from Yangon. You take a flight here south in the way. It's only accessible via Yangon by flight. Otherwise, you have to go by road. This is absolutely beautiful. It's one of the latest region we opened, and I explored several times to find the best activity. So we have snorkeling tours, we have adventure tours around empty beaches. We also have some cultural experience in downtown. It's a real break, but still a more active one for travelers who don't want to just stay at a resort. And finally, Loiko. We talked about it very shortly. Loiko is this town, so south of Inle Lake here, that you access on our biking tour. There's also different way of accessing. You can access it by boat via Inle Lake or simply by road. Loiko is absolutely beautiful. You can stay several days and explore all the ethnic villages. And the highlight is obviously the Long Neck Ladies. They collaborate with community projects, and they try to revive the tourism there in a very sustainable and healthy way for those ethnics. So the landscape is also absolutely beautiful. And finally, because it's not all about, we wanted to add this little, it's not all about active today. Wanted to also highlight that in general, we can really tailor make any program and add special touches here and there. Even in those programs we presented to you, there's always room to add those added value experiences that any traveler can do. And we like to highlight often activities around Buddhism because it's a wonderful way of learning more, and also our spatial catering. So we have surprise cocktails on the lake in the middle of the floating gardens. We can do special setup for picnics. We have different location where we can do candlelight dinners and private setup. And yes, those type of spiritual activities, it's here you can see a food donation to the monks. You can often interact and meet the monks, ask them their question. Matteo, you did the experience with the nun.
It was incredible. I was lucky to participate, to experience these activities, not activities, like an experience. We visit the place where there are the nun, and we were able to interact with them, ask questions, and it was beautiful. They were also very curious, and they were asking a lot of questions to us. It was really a kind of conversation, and it's something that unbelievable, and it was a beautiful experience. So, yeah.
So yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's really, there's a lot that we can do to make as much as possible interaction.
So I think this is all right, Celia. So I think we can ask some question. As we can, just to conclude, as we can see, these are 3 programs that we design just to give you an idea of the best way to experience Myanmar on the adventure active travel. But we are really flexible. As Celia mentioned, we can shorter the tours. We can design tours that are focusing mainly like an active leisure activities, so where they visit the main sites, but they can also do the experience, for example, in the Ile boutique house, where he's still active, but with a really decent accommodation, privacy, and comfort. So let's have a look at some questions that we have. Usually the question that we have that we receive usually for where the luggage are stored when you do a trekking tour in Myanmar that you shown, Celia.
Yes. So all of the trekking, during all of our trekking, we always advise our travelers to just pack a light backpack, depending on how many days they stay. And the main luggage is always transferred directly to the next hotel. So the hotel where the guest will be staying after the hiking. So they don't have to worry about anything. We have a team of porters. So the cook, like Matteo mentioned, we have a team that is cooking all the food.
Really good
and
food.
This team, yeah, excellent food. And this team can also carry extra water if needed, and even extra bags. So if your travelers want to pack their sleeping bag because they do not feel comfortable sleeping in beds they don't know, we can also add porters and they can carry this.
Okay. Do we have the e-bike in Myanmar?
So we don't have electric bicycle. We have electric scooter in Bagan, but no electric bike in Myanmar yet.
Okay. And so we have some questions from the audience.
First, we had Francesca,
yes we have
asking about the padong.
Exactly.
The Ile boutique. So the padong ladies, it's a good question, Francesca. I didn't highlight it enough. The long neck ladies, I know it's sometimes a little bit of a sensitive topic because it can seem like a tourism zoo. Actually, the project they've been building in Myanmar, it's they're trying to rehabilitate those villages and this particular ethnic to a much more healthier type of tourism. And they include those villages and the women into their own program of sightseeing. So they are the one who accepted. So there's been a whole conversation. This project has been built. It took several years to build by the community. There was a real discussion and they agreed to host travelers. There's a remuneration, there's very transparent. And the purpose was to bring them back from Thailand, where they often crossed the border to travel to Thailand and be in, well, tourism zoo where they were exploited. This project asked them to come back to Myanmar, to their home, and to make still tourism, because obviously we're very curious to see and meet them, but in a much more healthy way, where they are the one who control and agree or not to see travelers. So it's much healthier. And for Ile boutique house, so yes, this is feasible for classic, more leisure clientele. Like I said, even if the trekking way to the house is quite long, there are some villages on the way that can be accessed by road via side roads, and it can actually be only a few hours of walk or directly being driven to the house and just enjoy the night there. So it's quite flexible on this.
Okay, we have another question from Jana. If I have a client who don't want to bike, maybe they do want to do maybe some light hiking, is possible to combine like an hiking activity with a transfer and the sites visit?
Yeah. So yes, it is absolutely possible. So here we highlighted our longer trekking and biking, but we actually have quite a large range of half-day or day hikes, where it's only a leisure walk through some villages. It's mostly around Kolor, Inle Lake, and Pindaya. So this area around Inle Lake. And biking tour is the same. We have a few biking options of 2 to 3 hours around the main areas, being Bagan, Mandalay, or Inle. And this can then be combined with classic sightseeing.
Exactly. So we can do different type of experiences. So the one that we shown that really for adventure travelers and active travelers, because we wanted to show you that Myanmar, we can also explore it through really different regions that are not very common, but we can also design a tour including Mandalay, Bagan, and Inle and Yangon, with a mix of sightseeing, classic visit, and some activities, as Celia said, some day tour or some easy hiking tour in the destination.
For the refill water, Matteo, do you want to go into more details, or should I?
So yeah, I can say, I can give some information about this. So the Refill project is a project that we started in Cambodia in 2017, and from this year we started in all our destinations. So the water that we use is filtered water, and it is in water tank of 20 liters. So each water tank that we use is sealed, so is controlled by the companies that that provide the water. So it's the same company that provide the plastic bottles, the 50 cl, but they also provide a water tank of 20 liters. So the water that we provide is for sure is controlled, and we install this 20-liter tank inside of the vehicle where the travelers are transferred. And also each hotel, most of the hotel where we stay, they have a refill station with drinkable water. And for the refill bottle, we also, if you like, we can also provide to your clients, but in case, because most of the time now everybody has a refill bottle, so they can bring it also from their home, and we just organize all the logistic. This project is
actually,
yeah, this is a sample of bottles that we provide. So it's stainless steel bottles.
Indeed. I see there's another question about the capacity. There's no minimum. We can start operating from one traveler. We try to limit our hiking to 15. We can host up to 20 travelers in monasteries. And for biking tour, we currently have 12 travelers maximum. Yeah. Our operation is trained mostly for 12 maximum.
For Easia Active, we try to keep it 12 to maximum 15 in order, as I say, for the experience and to keep the atmosphere of the group much better. But yes, as Celia say, for the hiking tour, we can also do it for larger group. For biking, only Celia, right? 12 packs maximum, right?
Yes, 12 packs. Any other question? Maybe. Yeah. Even on leisure travel, we can answer.
If we don't have any more question, I can just show you. So if you can go to the next slide, so I can show you our tools.
Wait. I think, sorry, Matteo. We have a last question. When do you expect borders opening? At least, I guess. I wish I could guess this. In Myanmar, it's always quite a bit tricky. So the official information we have so far is that the international airport has been closed until mid of June. For sure, we have very strong belief that Myanmar will follow the path of Thailand, and by 1st of June it will be open. 1st of July, sorry, it will be open. Regarding visas, it will be very difficult to say, or even quarantine. This I cannot even guess. But by 1st of July, normally the airport should be open following Thailand opening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we can move to the next slide, then if we have some question, we can still answer. So I can show you our tools, the services that we offer to all of you. So if you are working with Easia, Active or Travel, you have always access to our media library and agent hub. Our media library, you can download all our pictures and videos that we have available on it. Of course, you just need to get the access to the register, and then you can have all the library with all the pictures in all the 5 destinations. Moreover, we have our agent hub that I strongly suggest you to sign up. You just go to the website of Easia Active or Easia Travel, and you can sign up to the agent hub. Inside of the agent hub, you will have a list of all our experiences, program, growth, and all information about our destinations and more on that. And for the Easia Active, we have our own website where we have some we have some information there, and we have our latest news. And if you can go to the next slide, Celia, you can keep in touch with us by sending an email to sales@easiaactive.com. So our team in Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, they will answer to you. You can get in contact with me via LinkedIn. You can ask me all your questions if needed. And I suggest you to follow us on Instagram or via newsletter, that we have all our latest news about our destination. For example, the question about when Myanmar will open, we'll always try to keep you updated about all this information via newsletter, but also on our social media. And I think that's it for today. Thank you everybody for participating to this webinar. I hope it was useful to all of you. And for your information, we are going to have another webinar next week. I will lead this webinar because it will be about Cambodia together with Ward, our marketing manager. And it will be about adventure and active travel in Cambodia, destination where I have been living since 2016. So if you are interested, you can sign up, and we will keep in touch and see you soon.
Thank you everyone for joining today.
Bye.